The following program is sponsored by Team Reba of Remax Metro East Side and Eric Osnes of Homebridge Financial Services. Welcome to Open House with Team Reba. Each week, Team Reba will be bringing you a roundup of real estate and mortgage news, along with information about the local Puget Sound region, highlighting some of the best and brightest entertainment options, family events, neighborhood highlights, and local business interviews, so you can feel right at home in the Pacific Northwest.
Welcome once again to Open House with Team Reba. I'm Reba Hass of Team Reba, Remax Metro East Side.
And Eric Osnes here from Homebridge Financial Home Mortgage. Happy New Year!
Yes, Happy New Year right back at you, baby.
Man, that went fast.
Way too fast.
Yes, it always is. I guess the older you get, the faster it goes. At least it seems that way.
Yes, and I think you should know more than I.
Well, I see that 2020 is not going to be any different than 2019, is it? You haven't lost your wit? Good?
Unlike you and your hair. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
It's always different, but
every one I lose, I become that much wiser. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, I'm sure that's what it means. Okay. You're a lot shinier, I can tell you that. But
check me out, though. Look at this. I got my festive Norwegian sweater on.
I know. I was admiring it
straight from the old country.
Yeah, yes, and it is actually quite stunning, and I love the detail work on it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's got the little cool buttons. And,
I love it. It's like the metalwork clasps and then the detail stitching, and it's beautiful. It's actually stunning. We rarely see something of that quality here.
Perfect for eating lefse with. Yeah. Which we just cooked up.
I'll take your word for that.
Cooked up a big batch of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Keeping those traditions going.
Yeah. Well, lefska, or however you say that,
versus
lutefisk.
No.
I'll take the lefska.
That's one that we can...
Lefse.
Lefse. L-E-F-S-E. Lefse. Okay. And which is like it's made out of potatoes and flour and butter and
which is why I would probably love it.
And it looks like a tortilla, but it tastes delicious. Yeah.
Anything potato pancake. There's a lot of cultures that have a potato pancake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we record this at the studio in the International District, and there are some places just steps from here that have delicious potato pancakes with green onions and other stuff. Like, I
think they would call them crepes, but
no.
Are you talking about
crepes.
The Asian potato pancake?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, pancake. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Pancake.
I don't think they call it. Well, I mean, they'll call it for an American way, but they have a different name. But But I used to come down here all the time and get stuff like that. Delicious. Mm-hmm. So now you got me hungry. Thanks.
You're welcome.
We always record this after lunch, and I'm.
It's the least I can do. Time for all those New Year's resolutions anyway to take effect.
Yes. We're going to be
put the plan into implementation.
Well, so those are some of the topics that we're going to be talking about. I know over our Christmas week we talked a little bit of some of that, but we're going to bring up some more.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you start getting into New Year's, people have fresh starts, so to speak, or they have that in their minds and whatnot. So, it's a good thing to...
And what's that rule? How long does it take before something becomes a habit?
Okay,
Is it 6 weeks?
It's actually really 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah, but so the problem is that most of the health industry and whatnot, it's over $1 trillion business, for the diet industry, and it's unfortunate because what they're doing is they're feeding on trying to get people to do things quickly, right? So they'll say 21 days to this, 21 days to that, or 60 days to this.
Right.
But if you actually do brain study and, psychology kind of, background check on that stuff, it's really 90 days before you get a groove built into your brain that actually gets you into consistency.
Right.
And that's something I know for myself I've been doing a lot of over the last several years. It's one of the reasons that our business has done very well, how personally I've gotten back into good health again, consistency of the walks and workouts and everything else. So, we just, one of the things I always love about what we do on our show here and what we encourage our listeners to do is, lifelong learning, constant, education, and self-improvement, but doing it from a very, strong perspective of looking for the truth, right?
I think that's a good assessment.
Yeah, I don't think the people who listen to this show are the ones who are being duped. by the advertising.
Right.
Right. They're looking for the real nuggets and the real information that helps build.
Well, that's something you and I, going on our fifth year of this show, are very conscious about. This isn't a rah type of a show. We really want to bring you real information, real education, real guests and everything else. Now, of course, we're hitting it from an angle of how does this affect our local communities? How does it affect the real estate market? How does it affect the financing market?
Well, I like that we look at the micro and the macro, right?
Yeah,
because there's too much of what gets put out there that they're like, here's just the way things are. It's like, well, for some. And it goes right back to our favorite answer, typically.
Depends.
Exactly. Brought to you by Depends.
That's right.
Every time I bring that up to a new client, they always laugh. And it's so funny because you and I say it to each other, and we still laugh about it. And we've been saying it for 17 years to each other.
We really need to talk to those people. They should be sponsoring our show.
Someone get the people from Depend. Well, it's actually probably like a Johnson & Johnson product. In fact, while we're on air, I think I need to look that up. So maybe we should start bugging them, right?
But anyway,
But let's hope we're not starting the year with Depends on.
Right, right.
Otherwise, that meant you had a really rowdy New Year's.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not
hopefully
so good.
Hopefully that's way down the road.
Oh,
that's all we can all hope for.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, I'm excited because this show, we're going to have a lot of different touch points of topics here. Now, some of it is about bringing up news that we want to make sure and give people maybe
flush it out a little bit.
Flush it out a little bit. We're also going to talk about stuff that topics that people don't always love to talk about, but that we need to talk about, right, in terms of planning.
Yep.
And you had, what was the other topic you wanted to cover?
Oh, just kind of a consumer warning.
Yeah. Yeah. How not to be duped.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love to bring out the how not to be duped.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
We don't want the people who listen to this show to be fed a bunch of malarkey.
Well, and they will be.
Or at least to identify it when it's put in front of them.
Exactly, and that's the thing that I'm super conscious about, and we just want to kind of get those thoughts out there.
Yes.
One of the ones I wanted to talk about, and it's lots and lots of talk around the water cooler over the last several weeks, is the Boeing suspension of the 737 MAX program, and it's made national news, of course. But if you don't know, those planes are made in Renton.
Right.
And they're kicking out, well, up until this point, 2 a day. I mean,
they've been
doing
incredible amounts of work down there.
And so when Boeing says we're ceasing the production of that plane, at least for the immediate future, that's a significant impact on us. Now, Boeing is stating that they will not be doing any layoffs at this point. There's 12,000 workers working in the Renton plant.
Well, a lot of people have been working overtime lately anyway, so if anything, it's probably just going to reduce some overtime.
Right, but the thing to remember, though, it's a little bit bigger than just a Boeing job. And I did a little bit of research on that, and every Boeing job generates 2.86 additional jobs.
Is it down to that?
Yeah, it's right around that. The latest statistics that I had, now these are a few years old, but there is a statistic for Boeing indicating 93,000 direct jobs, 36,000 indirect jobs created by those 93,000, meaning ancillary, like service type positions, 138,000 induced jobs, and those are all the suppliers, manufacturers, suppliers, people like that, for a total of, so 93,000 Boeing jobs created a total of 267,000 jobs overall. So,
and that's not even including the other things that are beneficial.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's probably where the 1 out of 6 jobs locally.
And it's the whole rising tide floats all boats thing. But it's important to remember that, because not only do we have a Boeing worker, but we have the local suppliers, the machine shops, the fabrication shops, all of that are supplying those materials and supplying everything.
Yep.
And so it's a bigger thing than that. But I was also looking back at Boeing headlines, over the last multiple years.
Yes, you said that you brought a bunch of that with you, and I'm very interested to hear that.
So 1993, Boeing says it will eliminate 28,000 jobs, and how that's going to impact the $98,000 Boeing workforce in the Puget Sound area. Boeing cut Stuns State, 2001. Boeing cutbacks, neither surprise nor crisis, 1998. Boeing cut back 20,000 jobs. That was from 2001. Oh, it looks like it was also 2001. So, latest ones we're getting, Boeing will cut 1/5 of workforce in 18 months. That was 1993. Boeing announcement of job cuts, 1991. We go through this from time to time in our region. And so this one is just the latest, but it's a manufacturing company, and they're going to have ups and downs. And unfortunately, this one's not a good one. But so far,
that's the whole thing is like the aerospace industry is impacted by a lot of different factors because. In this case, is it mostly because of like the issues that we'd all heard about?
It's absolutely because of that, and FAA recertification of the 737 MAX, which at the earliest is going to be the end of February.
Right. So it's not saying that that's gone forever. It's just on it's a bit of a hiatus while being made safe. Right.
Correct.
So. Other things that affect them is what's going on with fuel prices, right? Because if airlines are having issues with being profitable and they're going out of business and their orders go, belly up or any of that kind of stuff, I mean, they're impacted by what's going on in the world, right?
Oh, global economics are huge.
I mean, that's what planes are for, to go long distances.
Absolutely.
So anything around the world can impact them. I mean, I just remember growing up, a lot of my growing up years were spent in Kansas, just outside of the town of Wichita, which was also a Boeing economy.
Right.
Right. And that was even more so tied to the aerospace industry because Boeing was there as well as Learjet, Cessna, and Beechcraft and whatnot. And so looking at what happened when I was growing up and going to church there, the church we went to was in Wichita. And so we would constantly see the economic impact of the ups and downs of all those. In fact, my dad eventually, at one time worked for Beechcraft and went through some of that himself.
Oh, yeah.
So, I grew up being concerned about, a lot of people I know and a lot of my family members have worked in the aerospace industry. And I was always concerned about that cyclical nature of it, right, for a career. But when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this and what we think it really means for our region and why it may not be as big a hit as some people think it is.
There you go.
So we'll be right back here on Open House with Team Reba. Thanks for listening to us on this Saturday, and a Happy New Year to you, folks. Be right back.
Open House with Team Reba on AM 1590. The Answer. Now, back to Open House with Team Reba.
Welcome back to Open House with Team Reba. I'm Eric Osnes from Homebridge Financial Home Mortgage.
And I'm Reba Haas from Team Reba.
And thanks for joining us. We're here every Saturday from 2 to 3 o'clock, bringing you information on real estate and finance. And we're on the web. We're on podcast.
I was going to say, and all things related, but yes. So for these shows, listeners, if you're ever interested in going back and finding episodes where you want to kind of listen once again on some of the details of what we're discussing, please feel free to go find us on podcast. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and several others. And each of the shows is outlined as to what the content is. So it should be fairly simple. Now, I'm not an iPhone user, so I have not gotten onto iTunes myself, but I do know on Spotify, which I use, I can go back and I can find from episode 1 all the way up to where we're at, which is, I think, in the 180s or 190s at this point. And so you can find all kinds of amazing, relevant content. In fact, actually, sometimes what I end up doing when working with some of our customers or just people who are chatting to me about real estate is I can even pull them off our blog, or I can go to those sites and say, okay, go look for this episode, or here it is available to you. You can listen to it like podcasts.
Nice, it's searchable like that.
Yeah, so like I just had someone recently ask about a bunch of stuff on insurance, and so I went back and I grabbed all the shows that we did with Gerald Grinter so far, and I sent those off. And I had another person I was talking to about credit scores and things like that, which I know is a topic for today. And I went and found the shows that we did with Mike Olden, and I forwarded those. And, so it's a really great repository of a lot of fabulous information. And even some of the new people I have in my team that I'm training, I will send them our shows to listen to a particular topic, one, it saves me time because I'm like, well, I've already discussed it.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
here's a show you can learn, and I'm encouraging them all to listen to our past episodes,
Sure.
so they can understand how we do business and what we think about and talk about and how we approach the subject matter.
Yeah.
So
It's
anyway,
super
yeah.
good. I'm so glad those are all cataloged
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
So before we went on the break, though, we were talking about the stuff with Boeing, and
Mm-hmm.
I had mentioned, living in a market area that used to be very impacted by all aerospace, challenges. You're kind of getting the highlight of, yes, stuff happens with Boeing. It is cyclical. But one of the things that also helps our region so much more, and we bring this up regularly on this programming, is how diverse the economy is for us.
Super
so much
diverse.
more
I mean,
diverse.
if you think about it, there's that famous billboard that said, well, the last person leaving Seattle, please turn the lights out.
Yeah.
That was 1971.
Correct.
And we were a Boeing town.
Yeah,
back then.
100%. When
Yeah.
I moved here 30 years ago, December 2nd of 1989 was my anniversary date here. And so I've got 30 years here now. And houses here, most people don't recognize this because many of them have never been to Wichita, but the house prices here when I first moved here were the same as Wichita. And now
Yeah.
they are nowhere
Look at where they
close.
look at where they are now.
Nowhere close.
Just a little aside, Reba.
Just aside?
That billboard that got put up back, it was in 1970, April 16th, 1971. Put up by two real estate agents.
Oh, jeez. How
So there
did
you
I
go.
not guess that?
Yeah, funny about that one.
Why,
Anyway,
why did they do it?
I think they were just trying to highlight the fact that this
They're
was a
listing
problem.
agents?
Yeah, they were listing. Probably. They're like,
they were trying to get
if
new
you want to sell your
listings.
home, yeah.
Like, well, no one's moving in, but we'll list your house because
That's right. No,
Oh
they
my
wanted just the
gosh.
opposite. They wanted some action to kind of keep those jobs here, and so.
I don't think I ever knew that about that
that's
side.
true.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Bob McDonald and Jim Youngren were the names of the realtors. Anyway,
That is funny.
Not sure where they worked, but that was what
Who
it was
knows if
back
they're
back
even
in,
still
back in
around.
the day. Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's
too
right. But the
funny.
thing is, if you think about our economy right now, how diverse we are, and especially with the tech, with Microsoft and Amazon, and new offices
Expedia,
opening by
Starbucks,
Facebook and
Nordstrom,
Google and
Costco, all these.
Starbucks,
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
Oops, I missed that. Must have been
I
drinking my
was just
coffee
there.
at the time.
I was just there earlier today to get a chai.
There you go.
Yeah, with coconut milk.
I'm going to give a big shout out for egg bites.
Oh, the sous vide.
The right.
The sous
that's-
vide egg bites. I
the-
love those things.
Well, and I happen to have a relative, mainly my brother, who makes the machine that makes those. So
Does he really?
So every egg bite you
Well, let
eat,
him-
you can say thank you to the Heinz Buck Corporation, which makes
Okay.
the machine that drops that stuff into the thing that
Stuff?
makes the
Eat the stuff out of the thing.
delicious
Delicious
egg
sous
bite.
vide egg bites.
There you go.
I have some people who I know will love that. Sous vide has been quite a topic of conversation in the last year of my life. It's a great method. Well, because I started seeing the sous vide bites and didn't realize that it was just like this method of cooking, right? And
yeah.
so now since then, I had people introduce me to this whole version of the sous vide, and there's like sous vide little cooking capsules or whatever the heck they are.
Right.
And stuff.
All these different
Makes some
things. So
delicious food.
they
For
sure do, yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, okay, all right. So shout out to Lance there.
There you go. But bottom line, we're fine. We're
yes,
fine.
We're doing fine.
Our economy is fine.
And the housing industry is not being decimated by
No,
this.
it's
either.
not. With that said, if jobs are being relocated, we may see people moving from the Renton area or the South King County area north, to the Everett area. If they're going to go work on a different program, there's possibility of that. So we could see some movement of housing, some things like that, unless people are super like that commute.
The thing I do have as a concern for Boeing, and this isn't so much for the overall community, it's that many people know, and we've brought it up on this show before, about 50% of the employees at Boeing are at retirement age because they can start retiring in their 50s. Right. Unlike a lot of folks who can't retire until they're like 60s or 70s, a lot of their workforce, about half their workforce is mid 50s. And it could be one of those opportunities for some of them to decide maybe now's the time.
Well, I'm sure there'll be programs offered like that, although I do know personally a lot of folks that have elected to take a retirement, early retirement, they come back as a consultant.
Yeah.
And
well, what we're looking for, and the reason I bring this up, is Renton Technical College trains a lot of the people who work at Boeing. And Boeing is on the advisory committees for the college, and they're always looking for, fresh blood to come in. So both between like the Renton School District as well as Renton Technical College, there's a lot of symbiotic relationship there, and hopefully continuing. So if you have young people who want to maybe not go the 4-year college path, but want a really good paying job that has lots of benefits and other things available to it over time and career growth opportunities, get them in there. And if I may, I'm going to throw a little shout out for Renton Technical College right now. Did you happen to see the Seattle Times article about the massive gift that just went out to numerous local technical colleges?
No.
So I can now finally talk about it. They just released this a couple weeks ago. But the Gordon family, this lovely woman, gave $10 million to numerous local technical colleges, of which the Renton Technical College Foundation is a recipient of $550,000 of that.
Fantastic
Set of funds.
Congratulations.
And, and a lot of wonderful schools locally have been recipients for that. And so there are funds available. There are programs available. I know the Rainier Lions organization, if you live in their zip code and service area, has they have different scholarship funds available for local students who are looking to go into trades. They're very specifically looking for that. So I want to just encourage, again, it's the new year. There's things to be talking about. It's not just for our adult listeners, but hey, if you've got kids or grandkids who are looking at their future, or you're considering their future, these are things to look into, because there are some funds available for programs, and there's some amazing things out there. We're talking about a diverse economy, and these trade schools are teaching the skills that are outside, that are for this diverse economy that we've got.
And that pay
they
so
pay
well.
great.
They really, really do.
They pay very well.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely they do.
Yeah. Is it true Renton Technical College original home of Rosie the Riveter?
Absolutely.
That's where she was trained.
And one of the originals just recently passed away just this last year.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah, she was. We had her at RTC at our big breakfast a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They did a bunch of other things around her birthday more recently as well. Lilia Anderson, who's been here on our show for Puget Sound Honor Flight, and who is the community outreach coordinator for Merrill Gardens in Renton, was a personal friend of hers. And so that whole program was centered around Rosie the Riveter. And so both PACCAR and Boeing benefited from that.
Wow, fantastic. Nice shout out to RTC.
Yes. Oh, and if I may, one more plug. I know. Well, I have to put this out there.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know who Ruby Chow is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Former Seattle City Council person.
Okay, but also I'm assuming maybe, but I know her more for her food.
Sure.
So she really brought Chinese and Asian style cuisines to a new level here in our area, and really upscaled it. So she is a local phenomenon. Well, her granddaughter, Angie Marr, is coming as our celebrity chef.
Oh.
In January 28th, it's a Tuesday night. We're doing Beauty and the Beast, I think it is, or something like that, is the name of the $75 ticket for a meet and greet with her and her book. But we also have tickets available for the Culinary dinner event, which is a multi-course, multi-wine tasting event of her, and she's creating a specific menu around it. Now, I will say, I bought the chef's table last year when we had Tom Douglas as our celebrity chef. And so I have myself and a date, and then I've got 4 seats. Now, those seats normally would be $1,000 a person, and I am offering, if somebody is interested in coming to this event, to subsidize half the cost of that if they want to sit up front with us.
Wow.
Or there are other seats available. So you can go to the Renton Technical College Foundation, and it's on the website if you want to order tickets, either for the $75 event, for the meet and greet, or cocktails and hors d'oeuvres, or you can come to the full dinner for one of the different price points that we have for that.
That sounds fun.
There's only 48 seats available in the demonstration kitchen.
Oh, so this is intimate.
It's very intimate for the actual dinner with her. So you get to see her cooking. She's created a very special menu, multi-course menu for the entire night. I've been to the last several years. We just started this a few years ago. We've had 2 local great chefs. Asiago was represented the first year, and then we had Tom Douglas last year, and now we've got Angie coming, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have her there. So anyway, I know we've got way more to cover as we get through the rest of this show. Should we move on over to your other topic?
Give a few words for the wise when we come back about some things to be aware of and to be skeptical of.
Yes, let's start with the skeptics and then we'll end with the positive.
Sounds good. Stay tuned. More Open House with Team Reba. We'll be right back.
Team Reba?
Reba.
Open House with Team Reba on AM 1590. The Answer. Now, back to Open House with Team Reba.
Welcome back to Open House with Team Reba. I'm Reba Haas from Team Reba, Remax Metro East Side.
And I'm Eric Osnes from Homebridge Financial Home Mortgage.
Yes, I'm not Reba. Reba. But thanks for that. You make me laugh sometimes.
Do you want to know a frightening statistic?
Oh, good Lord. I'm not sure. Do I?
Today, on this day, in 1980, I started my banking career.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Man, am I feeling old right now.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's when the hair loss started.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, I had the full-on, big fro. You've seen pictures.
I've seen photos. Yes.
Yeah. No.
And the matching sweaters with your brother.
I sort of,
and
doing
big pointy collars.
Oh, yeah, doing the whole Don Johnson thing, way back when. And
dude, that was not Don Johnson.
That was in 1980. 80 was, we had what were they, Lycra? I don't know what they were, but those collars were huge.
Oh, they were definitely large.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they were Lycra.
I don't know.
Like rayon
or something like
Probably
that.
Probably rayon, yes.
All I know is they were
big.
hotter than, uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. The things we had the moon shoes with the big, and the what were they called? Marshmallows with the big white heels.
Oh my gosh.
Oof. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Not a look for me. No.
Definitely doesn't go with your sweater.
No, definitely not with my Norwegian sweater on here. Anyway,
moving on from
I got to tell you a little story.
Fashion choices.
Okay, story time. So, all right, I have a client who I've worked with for many, many years, and but it had been a few years since I'd spoken with them, and he calls me up. He wants to buy a new home, so I run the credit.
Yeah,
and it's
normal.
It's destroyed.
What?
The credit is.
Why was it destroyed?
Because he had a timeshare.
And what do you mean by destroyed?
Well, what I mean is it was
really
low to the point that I could not offer a mortgage. It was below the limits allowed.
Wow.
And you've got to be below, folks, around 620 is kind of the bottom standard for a conventional loan, 580 for a FHA and VA. So if you're below those levels, we need to get them up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at like, what happened? I'm looking at the credit and I see it. So here's the story. This guy had a timeshare, and kids were older, weren't really taking advantage of this timeshare anymore, but they're paying these dues, and the dues keep going up. I mean, many of you listening, you know the story, and if you've owned a timeshare, this happens.
Yeah.
So he contacted one of these timeshare escape programs that are heavily advertised on the radio, on TV, cable,
sell
everywhere.
Your timeshare.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't pay another dime to these timeshare companies. They're crooks, blah, blah, blah. Right? So he signs up with this timeshare, exiting type company, and they're going to take care of him. They're going to get him out of that timeshare. So the very first thing they advised him is stop paying your dues. Stop making your payments.
And he did that?
He did. Because these are the experts. These are the timeshare experts. So they say, don't make your payments. Now, some timeshare programs have annual dues. Some have monthly setup. This one happened to be a monthly setup. Folks, that's a mortgage. It reports on the credit as a mortgage. And when you don't make your payments on a mortgage, it has the largest impact on your credit score of any other type of credit.
It does.
It hammers your credit. And it was, we're not talking about a big amount. It was like $150 a month or something like that.
Well, how would he have known that?
He wouldn't have, because he wasn't given advice, which is why I'm talking about it now.
Right, but who would he have gone to for advice?
Well, he could have gone to me.
Okay.
He could have looked, I suppose, the Secretary of State or something like that. But honestly, these timeshare companies should have given him proper advice, saying, and their whole angle was, well, if you don't make the payments, it's going to give us leverage, and just a bunch of hooey. Anyway, so when he came to me thinking everything's hunky dory, all of a sudden I look at the credit. It's like, dude, you have. It's not a foreclosure, but you have a default on a mortgage.
Yeah.
And those are not things that sort themselves out right away. It can take at least a couple of years before you can kind of put something like that behind you. So I'm talking about it because it's serious. It's really, really serious. And if you do have a timeshare, you're struggling with it or you're unhappy with it, sure, maybe there's avenues. And I don't really know a lot about these companies, but the fact that they're giving you advice, boy, think twice about that and double check it. But if you ever hear anybody say, stop making your payments on this or stop making your payments on that, it's going to give you more leverage. It doesn't. All it does is ruin your credit. And so
I'm super sorry to hear that you went through that. That is
not a
ugly and painful,
not a pretty one. But there is misleading information out there. The other one that
you said you could have gone to like Secretary of State. I'm guessing these companies, I have to give tons of disclosures and stuff all the time. Or if like someone's looking at, like you have to, especially on the mortgage side of things,
big time.
You're constantly like, here's some things and resources to read and, in case you get in trouble or, lots and lots of stuff.
Right.
That is out there. So are you saying that some of these companies don't have...
Well, I don't know what sort of disclosures this person saw, but this company was not lending money, so they don't have the fair lending rules that apply.
But if they're going to impact your financial situation,
you would sure think so.
So I guess what the real moral of the story is, though, is anytime you have someone who is going to get involved or engaged in your personal finances. You've got to do better homework than just talk to those people.
And if there are documents, read them.
Yeah.
Please.
I can't stress that enough along with you, because I am always stunned how many people do not read through everything. And I am regularly like stopping people and slowing them down, because I'll even tell them before you even write a contract with us, I'm like, I'll get on a conference call with you, sharing a screen, like looking at the contracts that we have, just so you understand them.
Right.
And that way, when you do get to a place that you're going to sign one, you know what you're doing. Because I know there's more than enough other agents out there who are more than happy to like go show a bunch of houses, and then you decide you're going to write an offer, and then they send it off to you for electronic signature, and they're like, hurry.
Just sign.
And then at the end of the day, they're like, I really don't know what I just signed up for.
Right.
And that to me is terrifying.
Yeah. I'm answering questions like that all day long.
Yeah.
They'll come to me, what happens if my appraisal comes in low? Or what happens if I decide I just want to back out of this? And it's like nobody talked to you about that? That's
a lot of times they don't.
It's 101.
Which reminds me, we didn't mention, we do talk about that at our home buying class.
By gosh, you're right. We do.
Yes. We hadn't mentioned that yet.
That's right.
But September, oh my gosh, I'm already leapfrogging ahead. Leap Day, February 29th is when we have our next class. And I'm working on getting confirmation that we'll have it at the Renton Chamber of Commerce building in downtown Renton.
But it'll be somewhere down that way.
But it'll be somewhere down that direction. And we'll be doing the 10 to 2:30 time, like usual, when we do a Saturday. So, so we get one extra day this year.
Free day, Saturday, February 29th.
Yes. So unlike this year where we all had to have the holidays on a Wednesday, which really mucks up everybody's travel schedules,
sure
we get it on a Friday.
That's right. So this is the official first-time homebuyer class sponsored by the Washington State Housing Finance Commission.
Yes.
And this class is a requirement for many first-time homebuyer programs and programs that give you low down payment or zero down options, as well as deeply discounted costs of private mortgage insurance, which is required when you put less than a 20% down payment.
Correct.
Yeah, so the class is, I say it's a requirement, but you know what? It's good. It's darn good. We have so much information that's extra that we've custom tailored over the years. I mean, we've been teaching this class for a long time. And we know what you need to know, and we've delivered in a way that's understandable, and lots of resources to back it up. So, plus we feed you. So there's that.
Generally, so cram pack your brain and cram pack your face.
Absolutely. So
belly.
if you are interested in attending, or if you know somebody that is thinking about buying a home, or even if it's been a while since you've been in the market, there's a lot you need to know.
We've had several people come that have owned homes before, but it's been a while.
Absolutely.
Or they're in the process of needing to sell and then buy again, and it's been a long time. I can tell you.
Oh, for sure.
If it's been since before 2010 when you bought a house, a lot of things have changed.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. So to register.
You can go for updates on what's going on with that particular class, you can go to teamrebaclasses.com. And general registration can also be sent to info@teamreba.com. We just need your name, a cell phone number, and of course your email. And that's for all parties who may be coming, because sometimes people sign up for more than just themselves.
Yep.
So we need to have everybody's info, because just in case, if February 29th ends up being a snow day, remember last February we had some snow, we need to be able to reach people and tell them what's going on. And also, we want to make sure that people can find the location, because last time we had this, there was some confusion because someone else had a class similar to ours very nearby, and there was some crossover of each of those people in those classes to each other's locations. So, and that's actually where we met one of our wonderful clients from last year.
It is.
Yeah, Victor and his family.
That's right.
Victor Manuel and his family was such a wonderful, wonderful family to work with.
And thank them so much for coming to the wrong class.
Yes.
Our class.
Yes.
The wrong class.
Yes. And by the time this is all, on air now, they have been in their house almost a year.
Is it 1 year? Yeah, just about a year.
Yeah, just about a year.
Yeah.
Because they came last year, so it was really awesome.
Yeah.
But
super fun.
Yeah, I love stories like that.
Oh, for sure.
So, okay. So, what ended up happening to your guy?
Well,
is he able to clean that up? Has he been able to do anything?
We're working on it, but it is going to take some time. It's not something that can be immediately corrected.
And not one of those rapid rescore options?
No, it's not, unfortunately, because delinquency can't be erased unless it's erroneously reported.
Okay, so I have a quick question for you, because last week we had information about, I think we got to this, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were concerned about the guys who were saying utilities. Doing so, just a reminder for people too.
There's a new program out where you can add utility bills to your credit score to boost your credit score. At this point, it's not allowable for mortgage lending, but it may be for auto accounts and auto loans and credit cards and things like that. But before you pay money or anything like that for that program, be sure and check with me or check with your mortgage lender.
Well, it goes back to that same advice. It goes back to that same advice. If somebody's trying to help you in some way with your finances, you really need to vet out whether they're doing it in a proper manner.
Absolutely. There's a lot of that going on out there. People trying to separate you from your money.
Yep.
Just got to make sure you're spending it wisely and using it to the best use you possibly can.
Yeah.
So.
And on that topic, when we get back after the break, we're going to be talking about the kind of what comes in the inside of all of that.
There you go.
Yes. We'll be right back
Open House with Team Reba on AM 1590. The Answer. Now, back to Open House with Team Reba.
Welcome back, Open House with Team Reba. I'm Eric Osnes from Homebridge Financial Home Mortgage.
And Reba Haas from Team Reba.
Thanks for listening in with us on another Saturday afternoon, and Happy New Year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone had safe and wonderful holidays.
That's right.
I know I did.
That's right.
Up in the San Juans yet again, enjoying nature and the water and the islands, and just love it. Doesn't matter what the weather is. I enjoy it no matter what.
Snow in the mountains, water still in the sound. We're good.
That's right. No burning tires.
Yeah, we're
like
good. Nothing like that. Nope, it's all looking good.
Well, I'll tell you, some of the topics of conversation got pretty deep. And I can tell you, because it started a couple of weeks ago, actually. I had, so we did so for our listeners, if you're new to us, a couple of months ago now almost, we did a replay of a show from my good friend Tim Burkhart. So Tim Burkhart was a local estate planning attorney, was just extraordinary. And I was lucky enough to have been introduced to him. Oh, my goodness. I knew him personally for 17 years. And was introduced by a good friend of mine who was an attorney in Oregon because they had worked at the same firm. Yeah. And so Tim had been my estate planning attorney, and then he passed unexpectedly on October 3rd of 2019. But interestingly enough, he and I had just been conversing over the summer because, as many of our listeners also know, I went through a divorce in 2018. And so I needed to update all of my estate planning.
Sure.
So he and I had been discussing that, but had not yet gotten it all formalized. And then he passed. So I got a chance to meet with Anna Cashman over at KHPB Law just recently. And so we started going back through all of that. And, the thing is, I've lost several friends in the last, 6 or so months. So my friend Leland, who passed, who was from my yacht club, but also had been a 20-year friend and former colleague in tech. My niece-in-law passed from mouth cancer in November. And she was only 35, and she had just had her second child. In fact, they had to take the baby out early so that she could be treated for the cancer. And then she didn't make it. And then, of course, with this other friend, Tim. And so, it got me getting really pushed back into the mindset of like, I've got to go do this. And, I've got to get my stuff done. And I mentioned earlier on the show that there was a woman who surprised so many people locally with that $10 million gift to the technical colleges. Well, I'm currently in the legacy documents that they're sending out for Renton Technical College because they are going to be a named beneficiary for me.
Oh, fantastic. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So they're going to be one of them because it's going to be a scholarship fund that I will set up on behalf of my father, who I loved and respected and passed in 2013, and then myself, right? I got to watch myself because I'm going to get emotional thinking about all of this. But I need to make sure it's memorialized. Like I have these intentions, but when someone passes unexpectedly, I mean, all of these people passed at what I consider fairly young ages.
Right.
Tim was in his early 60s. Leland was 56, maybe 57 at the time. And then, of course, my niece at 35. Yeah. And so, you're looking at all of that and saying, because the thing is even when I talk about like what happened with my parents, my parents were hit by a drunk driver in 2007 and were incapacitated. My father permanently because of brain damage, and there were powers of attorney. And the big reminder to everyone then was my parents, thinking they were doing everything correctly, had powers of attorney. They had do not resuscitates set up, and the thing was, the powers of attorney, unfortunately, they notarized each other's documents. And so that meant it automatically negated theirs for each other, technically. And so my sister and I were behind my dad on medical and financial, and my brothers were behind my mom. But then even my father's DNR, the do not resuscitate, when you're in that critical space in a hospital, you need to make sure that you've had these conversations with your family about what your wishes are, because my brother denied my father's wishes because he felt he was representing our mother. And hospitals will frequently...
This happens a lot. It happens all the time.
And this is the thing, is most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Most people are not aware that a hospital is going to be much more reluctant to follow even your own instructions if there is someone who is saying no.
Right.
And so it's so important that these conversations be open, because they can be open and loving, right? And it doesn't have to necessarily be at the who gets what.
Right.
It's more just about like, hey, if something happens to me, here's some of my wishes. You don't want to focus on the stuff. It's about here's who I am in life and how I want to be taken care of, right? And here's how I want my children to be taken care of. Because a lot of people also make a lot of assumptions about what will happen with their children should something happen to them. And it's not probably a lot of the times what you think. And so if you have specific wishes, you need to do that planning well in advance.
Right. It's it's something that's super critical, and things get weird, when that happens, and you never know. But there could be that one family member that they just see the money.
Well, and I've been through enough estate sales that I've seen family members threaten to sue the executor because they want so much money out of the estate, and it's just like
right.
And many of the times those are driven by what somebody owes outstanding to someone else, not because there's any particular other reason. It just, people get weird when someone dies.
They can.
But it also can be people get taken advantage of, because remember, we also had Paige Ulrey on our show talking about elder abuse.
Paige is a King County prosecutor specializing in elder abuse.
Correct. And so anyone wanting to hear more about these types of topics can go back and find that particular episode. But I see these things all the time. And in fact, someone who's working with us right now had someone in her own family. In fact, she was calling me several years ago asking for some consultancy around an issue that was happening in her own family. So I see it. I've had to have very hard, frank conversations with other people in the past about like, ooh, I'm sorry, but you don't have an ownership interest because your brother did this. There's just so much. So anyway, it just, it's on my mind that, end of year is a time that we're all typically reflecting. And as we go into a new year, we're thinking about what is something that I can do to put myself in a better position for the year ahead.
Absolutely.
And it's one of the best things you can do. And I want to remind people, it's not as expensive as you think.
No.
Many people think it's going to be grossly expensive. It's usually under $1,000
well,
for like
and I was
a will
say, even,
and a power of attorney.
And for many, many employers, I mean, it may not be perfect, but that $5 or whatever you're setting aside out of your pay goes to free legal.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, they can draft a pretty bare bones, but a workable, serviceable, will, trust, living trust. All of that can be put together fairly simply.
Once you start getting into like revocable trusts and things like that, depending on who you're using or how you're having to pay for it, but it is all still very, very reasonable. And I know like Anna's getting me some information, like I want to be cremated, right? And so she's getting me information. And I remember watching my mom struggle, just by pride, even though all 4 of her children were willing to chip in the money that was needed for my dad's funeral expenses. My mom was like, no, I got it. But she didn't have the $6,000.
Right.
And she chose to bury him instead of cremation. And even though cremation was his choice. So again, it goes back to like, good gosh.
What are the wishes?
Like, what are the wishes?
Well, and another thing for folks that have recently moved here, Washington state law may be different than the laws in the states where your documents were drafted.
Yes.
So be sure, even if you've got a active will and all of that put together, make sure it works in Washington state.
Well, and marriage has changed too.
Sure.
Like part of the thing I was having to go over with Anna was the fact that, I went through the divorce. I had to make sure that my ex-husband was off as beneficiary, because it's not just him that I was dealing with it. So yes, the college, Seattle Humane will benefit, but I also have some other named beneficiaries that are non-family members. Right. And so, and then I'm working through all of the rest of how I want to handle stuff. But, it's not hard to itemize that list of what are your assets and liabilities and things like that. Have that available. Be able to have those conversations with somebody. Talk about what your wishes are. And it doesn't have to be scary.
Right. No. But do it now. Do it now while it's...
Yes.
I mean, not now. Pull off the road first, of course.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Don't do it, especially if you're behind a Prius.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for listening in to everybody this afternoon. And here's to a wonderful 2020. Hope you all have a great year. And here's many more shows, Open House with Team Reba, coming up down the line.
Yes.
Lots we still have to talk about.
On the next Open House with Team Reba.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Open House with Team Reba. To contact us, visit Team Reba at re/Max Metro Eastside on Facebook, or email info@teamreba.com. Join us again next Saturday afternoon at 2 for more Open House with Team Reba here on AM 1590. The Answer. The preceding program was sponsored by Team Reba of RE/MAX Metro East Side and Eric Osnes of Homebridge Financial Services.